Welcome, and let's unpack a very specific high-pressure professional scenario. You've got five necessary tasks right in front of you. They are all, good ideas. They all require your immediate attention, but you only have two hands and maybe 10 minutes. How do you decide what comes first when everything just feels urgent? You can't just throw your hands up. I mean, that's when critical things get missed.
And this is a deep dive into exactly that, the art of clinical prioritization. We're focusing on those really complex scenarios where multiple actions are technically correct. You should be doing all five. But only one or two are genuinely time critical or, risk reducing enough to justify skipping the others for a moment. The mission today is clear. We are distilling a powerful, strict five-step hierarchy to help you choose the best action based on immediate patient safety and professional governance.
That structural approach is exactly what we need, isn't it? When chaos hits, having that strict sequence is your safety net. We're going to break down three pretty complex clinical and professional scenarios, moving from life threats right through to governance issues.
Exactly. And the core principle we're emphasizing here is structure over instinct. When you're under that much pressure, your decision-making needs to move down a really strict, predictable sequence. We call it the TRCCA framework. This is all about maximizing your impact on immediate safety while, minimizing the chance of making a critical cognitive error.
Okay, let's establish the foundational rules then, because if you get the order wrong, you fail the safety test. What is this fundamental framework?
Right. So when you're facing multiple reasonable options, you have to rank them. And the source material lays out a clear, kind of non-negotiable order. Number one, time criticality, the T. This is the absolute highest priority. It's about addressing immediate life threats, the things that will kill the patient in minutes.
We're talking cardiac arrest, massive hemorrhage, or maybe an anaphylactic airway compromise.
Exactly that. Then, rank two is risk reduction, the R.
Okay, so this is for things that haven't killed the patient yet, but they carry a really high probability of becoming a life threat.
Precisely. This is about mitigating immediate instability. For instance, a critical electrolyte imbalance like severe hypokalaemia or hyperkalaemia that carries an immediate imminent risk of a lethal arrhythmia. You have to intervene now. And then, number three, this is capacity creation, the first C. This is often the forgotten safety measure, but it scores incredibly highly in these scenarios. It means delegating tasks, asking the nurse in charge for help, or clearing your own administrative path so you can deliver those critical rank 1 and 2 tasks safely. It's about stabilizing your working environment.
Now, wait a minute. That's a huge point. Capacity creation. So getting a colleague to help or asking for your bleeps to be diverted, that comes before talking to the patient or updating a worried relative. Isn't communication, which is rank 4, just as critical for professionalism?
It is absolutely critical, but capacity creation is a form of risk reduction for the clinician. If you're trying to treat sepsis, which is rank 1, and manage critical hyperkalaemia, rank 2, while you're also answering every routine bleep, well, you're just introducing a massive risk of error into those life-saving tasks. You have to put on your own cognitive oxygen mask first, so to speak. If you don't create capacity, you're risking ranks 1 and 2. So capacity has to precede non-urgent communication.
I see. That makes sense.
Then you get to rank 4, which is communication. The second C, this is where those important updates go. Informing a patient about a critical diagnosis, explaining a difficult procedure, or updating a waiting family member. It follows patient stabilization and creating that capacity. And finally, rank 5 is administration. The A. This is your routine paperwork, non-urgent chasing of results, or administrative tasks that don't impact the immediate clinical course. This should always be delegated or just performed last.
TRCCA. Time, risk, capacity, communication, admin. Okay, let's take this framework out of the textbook and throw it into the deep end with a classic pressure scenario. This is where it gets really interesting. Scenario 1, the ward crisis. You walk onto the ward and 5 tasks hit you at once. You need to. A, start the sepsis 1-hour bundle immediately. B, treat critical hyperkalaemia, say a K plus of 6.5 per protocol. C, call CT to chase a non-urgent scan result. D, ask the nurse in charge, the NIC, for help and capacity. And E, update the worried family of a patient who just got a difficult diagnosis.
Right. So we immediately look for TNR, and here we have 2 very serious threats.
We do. The sepsis bundle, that's A, and the hyperkalaemia treatment, B. Now, many listeners might argue that a potassium of 6.5 is the faster killer. It's an immediate arrhythmia risk. So how do you justify putting the sepsis bundle with its rigid 1-hour clock ahead of that immediate electrical instability?
That is a classic friction point. And look, both are ranks 1 and 2. In real life, you'd often start them almost simultaneously, calling for help while you're administering the first treatment. However, In these kinds of prioritization tests, sepsis, so option A, it often scores marginally higher, and that's because it's dictated by an institutional 60-minute clock, which demands a rapid sequence of actions, fluids, cultures, antibiotics. Treating the hyperkalaemia B is pure risk reduction. It's immediate, yes, but sometimes it's marginally less dictated by that strict timed protocol. So we usually order them A, B, but we have to recognize they are effectively equal and non-negotiable first steps.
Okay, that's excellent context. So they are your twin priorities.
Yeah.
Now what about capacity? We have D, asking for help, E, updating the family, and C, chasing the scan.
Capacity creation D have to be rank 3. You need to immediately find the NIC, look them in the eye, and ask them to divert your routine beliefs and assign you some help. This is paramount. If you try to update the family, E, before you've stabilized your operational environment, you're essentially telling the NIC you have bandwidth you don't actually possess, and that just compromises your ability to deliver A and B safely.
I see. So you stabilize the patient, you mitigate the risk, and then you stabilize your environment before moving on to any external communication.
Precisely. Once the patient is being stabilized and you've protected your working space, only then do we move to rank 4, which is communication. Updating the family, E, is vital for professionalism, for candor, for compassion, but it cannot interfere with that initial life-saving phase.
Which confirms that C, calling CT to chase a non-urgent scan result, is the clear last priority. Rank 5. It's pure administrative workload that can wait until the crisis is completely managed.
Absolutely. The pocket phrase we use to remember this is, start sepsis and K plus protocol. NIC, send help and triage bleeps. I'll update family once stable. That confirms the strict ranking. A, B, D, E, C.
Let's look at a scenario that really tests that cognitive trap of administration. You know, the classic battle between delegation and just doing it yourself.
Yes. This is where most people score poorly because they mistake speed for efficiency.
Scenario 2, handover chaos. A colleague has just handed over a critical workload you must manage. A, an unstable COPD patient who just arrived and needs immediate assessment. B, critical hypokalemia, so a K plus of 2.6. C, starting the TTOs, the discharge summaries, for a stable patient to free up a desperately needed bed. D, asking a colleague to start those TTOs and setting a time to regroup. And E, a relative needs a complex update about a patient's unexpected deterioration.
Right. TNR dominate again.
The unstable COPD patient, A, requires an immediate ABCDE assessment, NIBS, gases, senior review. That's an undeniable rank 1-time criticality.
Correct. And the severe hypokalemia, B, is rank 2. That's immediate risk reduction. A potassium of 2.6 carries a significant imminent arrhythmia risk. Treatment is mandatory now. Okay, now for the tricky part. We've got delegation, that's D, updating the relative, E, and starting the TTOs yourself, which is C. The temptation is often to think, oh, if I just quickly do those TTOs, I can free up a bed, and that helps the whole hospital flow. Why is C such a trap?
Yeah, why shouldn't you just knock out the TTOs yourself? It feels productive.
Because it is misprioritized admin. Your highest value professional time is currently assigned to ranks 1 and 2, saving the unstable COPD patient and treating that low potassium. Doing the TTOs yourself, C, means stopping those critical tasks to perform what is essentially rank 5 admin. The correct move is capacity creation rank 3. That means asking a colleague to start the TTOs, D, and setting very clear expectation and a time to check back in.
So delegating, D, is actually a superior clinical action to doing the admin yourself, C, because D protects your ability to do A and B. Delegation is the only high-yield option here.
Precisely. Delegation ensures that a necessary task, the discharge, gets addressed, but without compromising the immediate life-saving duties. Therefore, D scores rank 3. Communication, E, updating the relative, that comes next at rank 4. It's a key duty, but it follows creating capacity and patient stabilization.
And starting the TTOs yourself, C, lands firmly in the administrative trap zone, rank 5. Trading life-saving time for an administrative task is a professional failure in this situation.
The order is clearly A, B, D, E, C. This scenario really teaches you that capacity creation through delegation is often a necessary clinical intervention. It buys you time, it reduces your cognitive load, and that makes it superior to non-urgent communication or solo admin efforts.
That distinction between delegation and administrative self-reliance is absolutely vital. Now let's pivot entirely from clinical instability to professional governance and safety culture, because this hierarchy still applies when you're managing a near miss.
Yes, and this tests a different type of risk. It's the threat to the institutional safety culture and to professional candor.
Okay, scenario 3, safety incident. A theater near miss has just happened. A wrong site block was averted only at the last second, at the timeout. You now have 5 immediate post-event actions that need ordering, covering safety, documentation, and professionalism.
The focus here shifts to safety culture and transparency. And the first action is always to stop the bleeding, both metaphorically and literally.
So rank 1 must be making the environment safe, pausing the list, and holding an immediate safety huddle, option A.
Correct. Immediate safety. Stop the list, stabilize the remaining team members, and gather them to understand the immediate cause and prevent it happening again 5 minutes later. You cannot move forward until the process is safe again.
Okay, so now we have documentation, communication, improvement, and confrontation. Where does the patient fit into all of this?
The patient is rank 2. That is Candour, option C. We must provide timely, transparent communication. That means informing the patient appropriately about the near miss and what steps were taken to protect them. This is a core GMC professional duty. And candor must precede the official documentation because the relationship with the patient is paramount.
So we inform the patient C, and only then do we log the incident formally.
Yes. Rank 3 is documentation, which is B. We have to record the event on LFPSE, which is Learn from Patient Safety Events. LFPSE is the national system mandated for reporting these incidents. It ensures organizational learning and traceability. This mandatory logging has to happen, and it precedes the deeper review. Then, rank 4 is the necessary institutional step towards systemic improvement. That's agreeing a proportionate PSIRF, Patient Safety Incident Response Framework Review and sharing the learning. Option E. PSIRF is the structure that dictates how the NHS formally reviews and investigates serious incidents, making sure the changes are systemic.
That provides wonderful context. So LFPSE is the what happened report, and PSIRF is the how we fix it framework.
Precisely. Which leaves the final and lowest scoring option.
The ultimate trap answer. Sending a blame email to the anesthetist, D.
That is the absolute lowest scoring option, rank 5. It is unprofessional, it's counterproductive, and it severely damages the necessary safety culture that allows teams to speak up when things go wrong. A safety huddle is for learning. Confrontation is actively harmful to the system.
This is powerful because it shows the hierarchy is not just clinical, it applies to professionalism too. Safety huddle, candor, logging, improvement review.
And if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, all 3 scenarios test the same core principle. You address the most time-sensitive risk first, that's your P&R. That's followed by actions that create professional capacity, the C. And you're always prioritizing immediate candor over punitive actions or, purely administrative tasks. That's your second C and your A.
Let's synthesize this into 3 non-negotiable rules for anyone who needs to make these decisions under pressure.
First, life threats always dominate the ranking. Whether it's the rigid time limit of sepsis, a sudden drop in blood pressure, or critically unstable potassium levels, these are ranks 1 and 2. They're non-negotiable and immediate.
Second, delegation is king. You have to understand that capacity creation is an essential clinical action. Delegating administrative tasks is good, but chasing non-urgent scans or doing TTOs yourself when life-saving tasks are pending, that's a misprioritization. Capacity creation, getting help, nearly always outranks individual administration.
And third, in a safety incident, prioritize people over paper. The hierarchy is immediate safety huddle first, then candor with the patient, then logging on LFPSE, then a systemic improvement review through PSIRF. Blaming is the lowest scoring, most unprofessional action you can take.
This raises an important question for you to consider in your own routine practice. When you feel overwhelmed, how often do you consciously prioritize capacity creation? Calling for help, delegating, diverting bleeps. Do you treat that as a legitimate, high-value clinical action rather than just grinding through the admin yourself?
I think recognizing that creating the cognitive space to work safely is a critical intervention in itself. That's perhaps the most advanced insight these clinical scenarios offer for optimal decision-making. That discipline is what separates good professionals from excellent professionals.
That was a crucial deep dive into maximizing your time and minimizing risk when you're faced with multiple good options. Applying that clear sequential framework, time criticality, risk, capacity, communication, admin, is really the shortcut to optimal, safe decision-making under pressure. We hope this structure helps you navigate any high-stakes situation with confidence.